I'm not even joking, guys. The ETFs or XRP ETFs can launch, in theory, in the year 2026. I'm not kidding. Let us investigate how that's even possible. But I think it's going to launch this month, in the month of November, right? And it's all due to the government shutdown. From Coin Bureau, breaking: Bitwise and VanEck have submitted updated filings for their XRP S1 applications. Okay, so it seems like it's right around the corner, guys, and we basically need these ETFs to go live because this will be a pump event, in my humble opinion. It will be a decoupling event with these two. I was gonna say two certain coins, but HBAR, Litecoin, certain other digital assets ETF have already launched, guys, and we told you that was going to happen, right? It's a solo event. Why? Because it's directly attached to these certain coins, guys. Okay, these ETFs. So that's why when they do launch, usually the coins do pump, guys. Okay, whichever coin it may be. So that's why we need XRP ETFs to launch. But the issue here is it keeps getting delayed. So when will it be? I think soon. Though in theory, 2027 could be it too. I'm not even kidding. From Eric, Bitwise just updated their XRP ETF filing to include exchange, New York Stock Exchange, and fee of 0.34%, which are typically the last boxes to check. Amendment number 4. Okay, so it seems like we're at the last mile here, guys, right? And we just need to go the green light here, and that's pretty much it. From Eleanor, Scoop: Canary Funds has filed an updated S1. Oh wait, guys, I think I cracked the code. I'm not even kidding. You know, it makes total sense for the XRP ETFs to go live this month because of the charts. The charts point to it, right? In my humble opinion, there's actually a possibility XRP creates a new all-time high this month. And for it to create a new all-time high, but no other coin will do that except XRP. And the reason for it will probably be the XRP ETFs launching, right? That will be the narrative, I think. But we'll get into that in a bit. First, Canary Funds has filed an updated S1 for its XRP spot ETFs, removing the delaying amendment that stops a registration from going auto-effective and gives the SEC control over timing. This sets Canary XRP ETF up for a launch date of November 13th. There it is. Okay. The 13th, obviously, right? We should have known it's going to launch then. A date, guys. Assuming the NASDAQ greenlights the 8A filing. Okay. Then Canary XRP's ETF will launch on November 13th, which will be massive. Note, the government reopening could affect the timing, potentially moving it up if the filing is complete and the SEC is satisfied, or back if staff propose additional comments. However, it's worth noting that SEC chair himself seems to be on board with companies taking advantage of the auto-effective method. While not commenting directly on ETF launches, Paul Atkins said yesterday he was pleased to see companies like Map Lights using the 20-day statutory waiting period to go public during the shutdown, praising the same legal mechanism Bitwise and Canary used to launch their Solana, HBAR, and Litecoin ETFs this week. So there it is. So there's a possibility, even within this shutdown, the ETFs could go live, and I hope that's the case, guys. Because if the ETFs don't go live here rather shortly, well, I don't think it's gonna go live until 2026. Okay. Because of the fact from Peter, the shutdown could, in theory, last to 2027. Because unlike past shutdowns, there is no debt ceiling to scare financial markets. Nobody needs a deal. If that miracle happens, non-essential layoffs are permanent, and we start paying down national debts by the trillions. Guys, we're talking about this government shutdown could, in theory, last till 2027. I mean, we have to hope that, however the HBAR, Litecoin, and Solana ETFs were launched, that same technique or method has to be used with XRP ETFs. Okay, that the date here says November 13th. If it doesn't, well, 2027, here we come. But I don't think so. I'm going to explain why with market predictions, right, or what the market thinks and all that stuff. But in theory, we could go to 2027.
The government shutdown could theoretically last until 2027, according to Zero Hedge. Dare we dream? As the federal shutdown enters day 28, we are just 1 week shy of the record set back in 2018, when Trump wanted a border wall and Democrats wanted new voters.
So in about a week from now, guys, it's going to be a new record for the government shutdown. right? How long these government shutdowns have lasted, guys. Previously, I think the longest I think was 30 something days, I believe, perhaps, right? So a week more from now, from today, guys, it's going to be like a record, I believe, about.
Republicans ended up surrendering on that one with not one penny for the wall, but this time, amazingly, Republicans have held the line. This is probably because polls are showing the shutdown is not actually hurting Republicans. In fact, their odds in the midterm elections, which is the most important thing in Washington right now, have actually gone up since the shutdown began, now hitting 40%. That's pretty impressive considering the party in power has won midterms just 3 times since 1934. Yet here we are, near even after 4 weeks of shutdown. Now the polling suggests mainstream media has lost their mojo, while Trump has been very careful to keep funding everything popular, so the military, ICE, WIC for pregnant women, while starving all the left-wing garbage, the foreign aid, money holes for New York subways and wind farms, food stamps for illegals. So there's little pressure for Republicans to cave. They win by doing nothing, which, to be fair, is already their comfort zone. And that takes us to Zero Hedge, who asks, how long can it keep going? Now the key...
Well, before we continue on, guys, I think it honestly reopens this month. Because here is poly markets and, people betting on when the government will reopen, guys. When will the government shutdown end? November 27th, 26 days. Now, look at this. So, coming down here, a 1% chance in the next coming days. November 4th to the 7th, 16% chance. November 8th to the 11th, 20% chance. November 12th to the 15th, 19% chance. And November 16th plus, 47% chance. Right, so it seems like towards the end of this month, the government will reopen, guys. I mean, it has to be this month. If it's not, well, they're just going to keep kicking the can down the road because people are going to get used to it. Which means no ETFs for XRP unless it just goes live automatically, right? Continue.
As most past shutdowns were paired with a debt ceiling, which makes markets panic about treasury payments, which are the lifeblood of our Ponzi financial system. But the next debt ceiling doesn't hit until mid-2027. That removes the external pressure to cut a deal. So if the world's not ending, if markets aren't even noticing the shutdown, if Republicans are rising in the polls while Democrats are afraid of their Antifa base, nobody needs a deal. In theory, this...
Interesting, right? Due to the debt ceiling. I wonder what happens if this were to happen, guys, and the government shutdown lasted like till 2027. What does that even mean, right, for America in itself? I hear there's something happening with food, guys, in people not receiving food or something like that. So it's getting crazy out there. I don't know. I mean, this could be a good thing and bad thing at the same exact time, right?
Means they can literally keep going until 2027. So for fun, what if they do? For starters, 2027 is far past the 61 days needed to permanently fire federal workers. The Office of Management and Budget has already officially fired roughly 10,000 and can keep going to, in theory, all 750,000 who are officially listed as useless or non-essential. GDP shrinks because government spending counts as GDP, which it should not. Jobs also shrink as thousands of federal workers no longer collect 6 figures to look out the window or fund riots. So GDP and jobs look bad, but both make the country richer. And then the big one, the national debt. Keeping the useless third of the federal government closed for a year and a half would save roughly $2 trillion, could actually be closer to 3. Now, it's hard for Congress to respend the windfall in a shutdown, so that could go directly into a budget surplus that would start paying down debt. That would lower borrowing costs on the debt in a virtuous cycle. In fact, it would lower borrowing costs across the board to factories and families alike. More important, shutting the useless third of the government for a year and a half would plant these seeds in voters' minds that maybe we should permanently defund it and make the surplus permanent as well. So it's next brought to you by I Trust Capital. Cauchy odds on the shutdown are still only 44 days, so we are a long ways from 2027. But if Senate Republicans miraculously hold the line, it is possible to get the transformational cuts their voters actually want. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
2027, guys. I hope not, because we basically need the government to reopen so these ETFs can already launch with XRP. JP Morgan says upcoming altcoin ETFs could draw $14 billion in inflows. The bank sees XRP ETFs topping $8 billion and Solana ETFs near $6 billion within 12 months. Guess what? HBAR Litecoin ETFs finally show life after silent debut. This went live October 28th. Okay, two coins. HBAR and Litecoin ETFs launched. Okay, now looking at the charts, HBAR exploded with this news. Okay, it went up 20-ish%. With Litecoin on the other hand, Litecoin went up October 28th right here, about 8%, guys. Okay, so 20% for HBAR and then 8% for Litecoin. But who's even buying these coins in the first place? Right? There doesn't seem to be there seems to be more demand for HBAR than Litecoin, right? Due to the price action. But I think realistically, if XRP's if every XRP ETF were to launch, right, in the coming weeks, probably we're gonna hit a new all-time high, like 40% pump or like 50, maybe 50% pump, guys. Let's see where that would take XRP to. Okay. Yeah, all we need is basically a 46% pump, guys, to create a new all-time high. That's it, right? HBAR just did 20%. At 20%, by the way, from here takes XRP to over $3. My target is $3, right, for this month, hopefully. But realistically, we could go higher, and we need these ETFs to launch because that's how liquidity will pour in, right? It's gonna keep pushing prices higher. From Eleanor, new, will XRP be the next crypto ETF to hit Wall Street? Okay. So every other coin is. I heard Flare is coming out with their ETF as well. It's crazy. So Canary Capital's XRP Spot ETF could be the next crypto fund to hit Wall Street. The filing, quietly modified on October 24th, removes the delaying amendment that gives SEC discretion over when the registration becomes effective, clearing the way for a potential November 13th launch, assuming Nasdaq approves a crucial Form 8A to allow it to list. Right. So we don't even need the government to reopen, basically. Okay, we just need the Nasdaq to approve this form and list the ETFs. The move builds on the same legal mechanism Bitwise and Canary used to launch their Solana, Hedera, and Litecoin ETFs this week, leveraging the 20-day statutory waiting period under Section 8A of the Securities Act of 1933, which makes a registration statement effective 20 days after filing unless SEC declares it effective sooner. SEC Chair Paul Atkins signaled support for their approach. And since Tuesday's launches, which broke the Gensler era tradition that all crypto ETFs start trading on the same day regardless of filing date, other issuers have been rushing to update their S1s to bring products to market, while SEC continues operating on a limited basis during the government shutdown. So there is a chance here, November 13th, right, for Canary's XRP ETF to go live. Otherwise, well, we have to wait for the reopening of the government. Okay. And we need these coins, these ETFs to launch, guys, is what I gotta say. Okay, there's a chance that the government will shut down or stay shut down until 2027. Let's see what's the case here, right? I mean, the government doesn't even do good at the end of the day, so who cares, right? The only reason why we care about this is because for the XRP ETFs to go live, but now there's a chance we don't even need the government. That's the C. So let's wait and see in the coming weeks. Now, financial advice. My name is Sophie's Business. See ya.